And today I actually do another stream of Golden Kamuy, the anime series. Good to go, we're good to go, we're good to go, we are good to go. Yes, definitely good to go. Definitely good to go. So anyway, yeah, so today actually our current episode 18 of Golden Kamuy Season 2, which I believe is episode 6 of Season 2. And yeah, I mean, episode 17, which is episode 5, actually was really freaking good, I must say. It actually incorporated Sugimoto's past into the actual show itself, because, as I said beforehand, there have been instances in the manga when they actually have introduced Sugimoto's past, but the anime chose to leave it out. But episode 17 actually allowed us to actually kind of see there actually is a deeper side to Sugimoto than we actually aptly imagined originally. It actually was really well integrated when you think about it, because his character's been through so much this whole entire anime to actually kind of have that one point where it actually kind of allows him to actually kind of breathe, actually allows us to see a different side of him, actually did him through work a lot better than I actually expected. So I really do give props on that front. And also, Gato was beautiful as well. So there's the other prize of the whole entire episode as well. But also, Koito was actually introduced as well, and Koito's my boy as well, so... But yeah, episode 18, I believe, is actually kind of delving into Tanigaki's past, actually. I believe if some of the scans I've seen of the episodes, or scans, I say, images of the episodes themselves, I've seen on the official Twitter, or anything to go by. So that should be very interesting to actually kind of see what actually doesn't really happen there, because his backstory is actually very interesting as well. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there. So anyways, I actually gone live for episode 18 of Golden Kamuy. So, gone live for episode 18 of Golden Kamuy. And I believe, I like to believe, I believe, we're good to go. We're good to go. We are good to go. So anyways, actually put this into full stretch, get shown a road. So, in 3, 2, 1, let's actually start this thing absolutely now. But yeah, episode 17 was freaking brilliant, I must say. It was one of those ones I was actually really shocked about. I was like, god damn, that was brilliant. So it does seem as if it's going to end at chapter 137, I believe, then. By the way, the actual show's kind of going. If not there, just slightly more. The scene actually does a really freaking good job. Actually, kind of adding urgency to its actual whole entire plot as well. I actually really did like it. It's one of those scenes that really adds a lot of urgency. That transition though, that was freaking good transition. But yeah, as I said in season one, I haven't really said it in this season because I've actually kind of went on about it a bit too much in season one. But the one thing that I really did appreciate about this series as a whole is the fact that the gold is just one piece of the puzzle. Like in essence, what the gold does in theory do, it creates micro narratives out of it, and I actually kind of like it because you have the idea of who Noporobo actually really is. Who is he? What does he actually do? What does he actually mean towards the narrative itself? But then you actually have these small other narratives going on, like the whole thing in Tanigaki, and I actually really do appreciate how they've actually kind of structured the show itself. Because it doesn't feel like as if it's actually kind of deviating at all, because the actual destination everything leads to is the real destination. He's so beautiful. I can't get past that opening. I love it. So I'm guessing they actually are in theory kind of exploring the characters a little bit more in this season as well, which is actually kind of cool. Because this happens a little bit earlier in the manga. I think this happens around about chapter 76, I believe, is where it happens. And currently I believe we're on chapter 100 of what's actually happening in the manga, I believe. They've actually done this pretty well so far, to be honest. They've done this really well so far. I actually mostly appreciate that they actually put it into the actual narrative itself as well. It's actually well integrated into the actual narrative. But I will say Tanigaki's past is actually very interesting. Like, very freaking interesting. What I will also say is the props to the sound design in the scene as well, because it's very well done, because it's very subtle. It's allowing the characters to actually kind of drive the narrative forward and actually not allow the music to overpower the scene itself. Because the music can actually, in theory, add a lot more to the actual scene itself and emotionally, but they're allowing the actual characters to actually kind of, in theory, carry the scene that actually is working a lot better. It's also kind of nice actually allowing the actual scene to play out. It's not kind of condensed. It's actually kind of very well fleshed out, if you get what I mean. Which actually is quite nice. Oh, oh, oh. This scene caught me off guard in the manga as well, actually. I was like, wait a second. No, it is. It took me a while to realise it. I was like, wait a second, no. I mean, again, it kind of adds a lot more to Sugimoto's character as well, because it kind of now allows you to see actually there's more to him than just his backstory. This is why I appreciate this scene a lot more as well. Also realising this in those scenes, a lot of the characters appear in the show itself in that scene, which is actually fairly interesting. See what I mean? A lot of the characters appear in the scenes themselves. I actually can't believe how well they've done this. They've done this so freaking well. I always think that's actually an amazing bit of characterization as well, because it's not him just saying, look, it's me. he does it via the way that he would actually know how to do it. Always how he'd actually associate him with, and I always thought that's actually a really good way of actually doing it. More than saying, look, don't worry, it's actually me here. He's so beautiful. He's so beautiful. Also just realised, I believe next week is the Fabled chapter. Next week actually couldn't really be the Fabled chapter. See, this is why I love this show so much, because the episode dealt completely with Tanigaki's character, and I didn't really feel as if it was wasting your time at all. Not at all. Once I thought to myself, wow, this could have been cut down at all, because as I've always said, even in its downtime, this show is just incredible because the characters themselves can in theory carry a narrative, and I believe it's actually kind of one of those times when they should in theory kind of take a little bit backwards, and actually kind of explore the characters in some semblance of a way, because in some respects maybe the characters are lacking in some characterization here and there, though Tanigaki's kind of had that character arc, but actually kind of see where he came from before and how it impacted and how it's impacting him currently. It doesn't really work for the whole entire narrative actually go forward. And I actually kind of believe it's actually an amazing feat this episode actually kind of achieved. Actually kind of feel as if it's actually kind of like, yeah, we needed this whole episode dedicated to him. Because certainly some shows, it takes quite a bit to actually kind of convince a person that, yes, this character deserves a whole entire episode, but the characters are so well fleshed out in some respects that you kind of feel as if like, yeah, I can watch a whole episode just dedicated to him about his past. And I believe this episode actually was just a testament to the whole entire theory. And I believe this episode is one of the best episodes of the whole entire season so far, because of the way they actually kind of went about showing his backstory. They didn't half-arse it once. They actually delved into his character. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not we actually will get Ogata's past as well. Because if we don't, I'll be pissed, because it actually plays a pivotal part into a later event, which then plays a pivotal part into how you actually see his character from beforehand as well. It's one of the other things to actually kind of note. But yeah, one of the things is the backstory Tanigaki actually doesn't really do. That's why I smiled partway through the episodes, because Ogata actually appears. Because it's the way that actually kind of weave every single character together in some sense of a way, because yeah, they're actually kind of joined by the fact that the war happened, but it kind of actually kind of see the characters in free meet at one point. I mean, I believe Ogata actually doesn't free say it like in season 1 when he actually goes to the Kotan itself. He actually doesn't free say, look, we actually were together at one point. He actually doesn't free actually know who he is. But actually kind of see it in action kind of actually adds a lot more to their kind of character relationships and actually how much they've changed, because we had the whole entire episode last week explaining the whole entire idea that some people leave their hearts on the battlefield. But when you think about it as well, the idea of how the war has changed the person doesn't really actually impact the relationships the characters actually share as well. Because the whole entire thing with Sugimoto and Tanigaki doesn't really kind of show that whole entire idea. Because, yeah, it's a very kind of 1 second moment when you think about it, but now you kind of see them in a different light. Now you actually kind of see how they see each other now, currently in a different light. Actually, kind of, it's a nice little bit of characterization. You get what I mean? It actually does improve what actually kind of better the relationships between the characters. It strengthens them somewhat. It actually adds a lot more depth to their relationship, actually, how you saw them before. Which is what this show and the manga does perfectly, especially in the later sections of its manga as well, is the fact that actually allowed you actually kind of see events from different perspectives, because there's always this idea that you don't know the correct perspective, actually kind of take the whole entire series, because the series always kind of subverts it in some way. And I always kind of believe that how they kind of went about the backstory in this episode really doesn't really prove that, because you kind of get this idea there's actually a lot more to these characters than what's led on to believe. And it's actually kind of nice because of it, because we actually kind of see a different perspective, and in doing so, we change our minds somewhat about some of the characters, and it just adds so much more to the actual world itself. I just appreciate it so much, because it's one of those things, it's not just one fixed perspective, because if it is, I don't know what would happen. I don't think it actually would impact the story too much, because the story is still fantastic on its own. But actually kind of have these different perspectives each time, doesn't really actually allow us to see the events from a different way. I just love it. I think it's actually really freaking cool. I mean, I feel as if more shows should actually do this, because fixed perspectives actually go so far. You actually kind of branch, you need to actually kind of, I say the word now. You need to branch out slightly, actually kind of look at it from a different perspective. This show does it. So in that regard, episode 18 really did in theory kind of just strengthen a lot of the characters themselves, but also then actually kind of delved into Tanigaki as well, because Tanigaki is kind of that character that actually kind of always kind of been in the back, but then kind of went forward as time went on, slowly actually kind of creeping forward, more forward as time went on. I really did appreciate how it actually kind of structured his character, and I believe that's actually kind of proved it, because it kind of shows you a lot. Because also one of the other things I like about this series as well is the backstories of the characters are quite tragic in a way. They actually are. They're not sunshine and rainbows in any way, shape or form. They actually are kind of very tragic, but in doing so, what I like about them is the fact that they don't squander the idea that, they actually kind of got this tragic backstory. No, they actually kind of use it, actually kind of better their characters as time goes on. And obviously I did actually always appreciate that about the series as well, because Tsukimoto's one's a perfect example of it. And Tanagaki's one's also a perfect example of it, because he's actually trying now to save someone, actually kind of get someone back without them actually kind of dying. I actually kind of appreciate the fact that actually kind of uses backstory to actually kind of then strengthen his current resolve and then character on its own. And I feel as if on that front it's an impeccable series, because it's one of those ones that other series will use a tragic backstory actually kind of make you feel as if you're connected more to the character, because the fact is their backstory is sad. But here you don't get that at all. Here you get the idea that yes, there is something here that actually makes you kind of connected to him, because his resolve now is kind of even more deeper than before. So in that regard, I like the placement of the actual backstory. I feel as if it actually kind of is very freaking well done. It's one of those ones that I actually really didn't like it, because it's just, they actually know when to actually kind of place him into the anime series, because again, this happened a little bit beforehand in the manga. I believe it happened about chapter 76, I believe. So, you understand that it happens way beforehand, but the way the actual kind of show goes, it works because the actual characters have seen quite a bit of stuff as time went on, kind of experienced a lot of things. Actually kind of have this retrospective on the characters is actually even add a lot more to them. So in that way, I actually kind of do appreciate the actual idea of how they place the actual kind of characters' backstories into the world itself. It's not as if it's just kind of half-assed. It's not just there because they have to use it for padding. No, it's actually there because it's actually got a reason to be there. So again, in that regard, well done. I can't fault this episode in any way, shape, or form at all, because this show and this episode is impeccable. It really is. I mean, yeah, I would have liked a bit more of Tsukimoto's past, because there's actually a lot more there, but I guess as time goes on, we'll actually probably see more of it. But it was actually kind of nice to actually had this downtime with Tanagaki's character, actually kind of see that actually is a lot more to his character than what we actually kind of know, and actually what actually didn't really happen to him before. So, yeah, it's just well done. It's actually really well done. Backstories in this season have been really freaking good, because they did it with JoJo as well, and JoJo's ones were amazing. So it's even more here as well. The backstories are done fantastically. So I'll probably get Ogata's past next week, unless they actually kind of adapt the Fabled chapter. The very fabled chapter. Granted, I believe they probably had to do it before the end of the series of Ogata, because Ogata's backstory plays a massive pivotal role in his character, and actually can make you go, oh, so that's why he's the way he is. Because otherwise you're kind of like, oh, well, okay. It just kind of adds a lot more depth to his character. But yeah, I mean, that is me done for today. So actually, as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on Twitch, then do leave that good old follow on Twitter, on on Twitch, because indeed it does help me quite a bit. And if you have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to leave a like, then do a like, because indeed it does help me quite a bit. And if you actually have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to stay a bit longer, then do leave that good old sub, because indeed it does help me quite a bit. And if you want to stay a little bit longer after that point, then do leave a follow on Twitter, because indeed it does help me quite a bit. On Twitter you actually will find when these streams go live and these streams I do as well. And if Twitter is not your thing, I do have a Discord server as well, which doesn't very tell when the streams go live and these streams I do as well. But until next time, episode 19 of Golden Kamuy, I will see you guys later. Bye for now.